Welcome, everyone. My name is Tony Cardenas, and this is the Carmel Social Media Podcast Show. We are going to be talking about Fishers and Noblesville, Indiana real estate market. And my guest today on the show is Kyle Morris with FC Tucker and my good friend Shelly Walters with EXP in Carmel, Indiana. Hi, guys. Let's talk housing.
Hey, Tony. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Tony.
Yeah, sure. So, hey, guys, let's talk about what's going on in the Noblesville and Fishers market. I mean, there's a lot of activities going on. It's middle of February. We're getting ready to get right around the corner to spring 2022, and the market's going to change. But let's talk about what type of activity right now, Kyle, are we looking at in Noblesville? What's for sale? What's going on there?
So right now, this week, we had 8 new listings go on the market, right?
Okay.
But we still have 19 total on the market. So the new 8 that came on, and then we have 11 others that have already existing on the market.
Okay, so what, Shelly, what do we got going on in Fishers right now?
Fishers had a few more went on the market this week, which is 16, and there were already 24 on the market. So we currently have 40 active, but those 16 that hit the market were between 290,000 to 1.4 million. And, that's a little tick up, but it looks like Noblesville really doesn't have very much going on.
Well, okay, so people are looking for a home. They call you guys. If Kyle, for example, if I called you up today and I was a new home buyer and I said, hey, you know what? I'm looking at buying a home in Noblesville because I want my kids in the Hamilton County schools. And I said to you, hey, I'm looking to spend anywhere from $280,000 to $350,000. Can you possibly get me in a home in Noblesville, or would I move over to Fishers? What would be your recommendation?
I mean, 100%, we could get you anywhere. Really, it comes down to more timelines, knowing what the expectation is of like how quickly we need to make these moves, so to speak. But you could get into either community at that price point.
You could.
Yeah, for sure. It really just comes down to, do we want to build? Do we have that timeline? Where are we sitting at as far as do we need to do it in the next 30 days or do we need to do it in the next 6 months? So
Right.
all of those things come into play, but you could get into either community.
And Shelly, if I came over to you and I said, hey, you know what? My wife and I are thinking about building a home in Fishers, Noblesville area. Would I be able to build a home starting, let's just say, April 1st, and having you guide us through the steps in the process? When would I expect to actually be in my home? And could I get into a home for, let's say, brand new home with a warranty for $350,000? Is it possible?
In Fishers and Noblesville, we currently have Fishers currently on the market where the builders are actually advertising on
Okay.
LIBOR. It's $467,000 to $866,000. That's what's available. There's 7, but I will tell you the new builds are not always on LIBOR, and we as agents are really good for you to be able to find what's out there and available because they're not being marketed. So we really don't know until it all depends on the community you want to be in, obviously the size of house you need and everything like that. But, when you see those numbers and starting at, that's usually nowhere near what you start at truly. So You just have to know that we can help you and guide you towards the proper neighborhood and builder to try to get within your price range.
It's funny you said that. I'm going to move over to Westfield just for a moment. Lennar, big builder. Okay, they're building in Carmel. They're building in Westfield. I had a friend that was thinking about it, and I was going to reach out to one of the agents on our list that they wanted to build a home in the Westfield area. Okay, and the home was like $342,000. Here's what's crazy. It was a 2-bedroom. They did not get to go pick their lot. It's like, okay, we're building on that lot starting on May 1st, and you get that lot and you get this house. I mean, what the heck's going on with the lots in the inventory? It seems like those choices aren't available. What's your opinion on this, Kyle?
So I think actually, when we were talking about the numbers, right, Shelly says they're not accurate. There's quite a few builders in communities.
Yeah.
They're not even on there because you have to go in there, you have to create a relationship, and they'll say, hey, we're selling 2 lots in April through a lottery system. And that's not going to be reflected on my board as far as, hey, come in and you can price this out. You can do a new build here. Just because the inventory, we have to be able to keep up with the builders with the supply chain, even have a reasonable expectation of completion dates and affordability and all of these things, right? Because so much goes into the new construction. So I think a lot of it does come down to the agent and the relationships that they have with the builders, because a lot of it, I get phone calls and emails about when new lots are coming on the market, things like that.
Yeah, and I do think that's where it's really important in this low inventory that everybody understands that as a real estate agent who's very, very active with new builds, like you and I both are, that we are in tune with every builder out there in all the neighborhoods, what's available, what's coming available. And the problem is that if you're not ahead of the game, then you're still not going to even probably be able to do a new build because they're going to sell out and it's going to be a while before they go to the next phase. And that's where I've sold, and I know you've sold with our buyers. These houses literally get the builders release them. They make their phone calls to us who are more active with them. And within 2 or 3 hours, we're in there with a contract saying we'll take it because we already know what we're looking for with our buyers. And we have that relationship, but the agents who don't have those relationships and or the buyers who are just trying to do it on their own, they come and go so fast.
Well, the great thing about a new home today versus a guy that goes out and buys a home for $325,000 and they buy it in just a couple minutes, and the next thing you know, they got to do some upgrades and repairs. By buying a new home today, what's the normal warranty? Is it 1 year fully on the house and then so many years on the structure? How's that normally
It
work?
varies builder to builder, honestly. So you do have the mechanicals that are going to be covered. You're going to have the manufacturer's warranty, but generally, like interior, if you're talking drywall, paint,
Sure.
that's a year.
Right.
But I mean, it's very dependent on what you're talking about in the house. Are we talking mechanicals, roof? Are we talking foundation, structural, appliances? That's going to go to the manufacturer's warranty, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, some are builders and some are the manufacturers of the actual product. So it just kind of depends. And every builder is totally different on their. So that's something we can't really say. And that's where we sit down with the clients and at the builder. And those are questions we find out or keep a very big list in our office of who does what, because it is different with everybody, just like any business person.
So give me that. I'm going to ask you your top 2 or top 3 reasons why somebody wants to use an agent to build a house. What the benefits do they get? And because a lot of people have ever built a house. I mean, I built a house before and I didn't know anything about building a house. So there's got to be a great benefit for a customer using an agent.
The interesting thing, one of the reasons I got into the business was because of this exact thing. So I had a great agent who helped us sell our house and was also involved in the new build process. And we had not a bad experience, but just a very overwhelming experience and didn't feel like we had a lot of support. And so that was one of the driving forces of me getting into the industries, because I wanted to look more into that. And a house alone, a fully completed house, is a ton to digest. It's just information, sensory overload, all of it. There's so many different moving parts, let alone during the building process. And if you're not used to it, and so know that sometimes these things look a little bit off and we repair them, or this will be taken care of pre-drywall, or this is normal and things like that.
Right.
And even then, there's so much to even look at.
Sure.
You will totally overlook something else just with a novice eye, quite honestly. That's what it really comes down to. It's just experience, and it's a long process, and it just is flat out overwhelming if you're not used to the process.
Well,
Right.
we're also there as their advocate, because there are
Right.
times when you've got a builder and a situation going on. And I will tell you, the advocacy, I absolutely 100% want to say you need.
Sure.
All these builders are awesome. They're still in business in this town because they're awesome. They're doing a great job, and they don't last if they aren't. So I'm not saying that there's any issues out there with any builders,
Right.
but there will be. There's just humans and errors going on.
Yeah, and people don't understand the step in the process and this, that, and the other.
How to handle it.
And some of them just don't want to be, controversial.
Confrontational.
Yeah.
You don't want to feel bad. And honest, when they're building it for you, sometimes you're afraid to say something like, well, what if they're gonna skimp on it? And builders don't do that. They're totally used to it. And we get to be the middleman who basically absorbs all the
Good
emotion.
cop, bad cop.
Right, yeah.
But we
100%.
just are there. We are there to help them make sure that what they're doing in this big purchase is done correctly throughout their entire process. And that's not to say we know what the builders, we're not that much of a brain that we know exactly what they should be doing, but we know how it should go.
Right.
And I will tell you, I just looked at a house that was on the market last week. The house is 2 years old, and I won't say the builder, but I walked in and I looked at the flooring, and it was just like they laid one type of flooring it was an open concept. So we have the family room, kitchen, and dining room, all one floor. And when I walked in, I could see one type of flooring touching another type of flooring. And I asked them, the sellers happened to be there, and I said, what happened to the flooring? And they're like, oh, no, they told us that it was a different lot colors. Because if you don't buy the same boxes at the same time, the floorings will not match. And I said, but you knew that when you bought it? And they said, yeah, but the builder said they couldn't do anything about it. My brain was going, oh, not on my watch. There's no way I would have let that, because right now, when we walked in, my buyers turned around and said, not interested, and walked back out because that floor was not done by the builder from the very
So the
beginning.
builder took care of it at the end of the day, right?
Never. They didn't ask for it. And now they can't sell it, I've heard. There's a problem because but those are things the builders will do if you tell them, if you're strong enough with it. But if the builder can move on to their next house, they're probably going to go, oh, they were cool, they didn't care.
Right, but they put the same floor in, it just didn't match up. It was
It
the
didn't
same.
match at all. It was very obvious when you walked
Okay.
into the house.
Yeah.
Can't and don't want to are two different things. Right?
Exactly.
Well, that's why
Can't do it versus
Or
don't
being
want to do it.
asked
That's why somebody needs an advocate to
100%.
walk them through the steps. So let me
And
ask
they're
you
going to
this.
turn around. What I just have to say is lose money on the sale of the house potentially because the builder didn't do it in the beginning for them correctly.
So they'll absorb the cost.
And they did
now.
not have an agent helping them. That's just something I see all the time.
Okay, let me ask you this. What do you think the interest rates are doing right now? I mean, we know they're going up.
Correct.
Is it taking some of your buyers out of the market? Let's be quick on this.
I don't think so personally. I think quite the opposite. Human behavior is people knew they were going up. I think everybody is knowing that it was going that way. People are more afraid of, is it going to stop going up? So I would actually say interest rates hasn't affected anything about my buyers whatsoever right now. I can't predict where that's going to be in 6 months, 9 months, but in the current environment, interest rates have not impacted significantly enough to change people's buying power.
Yeah, and I don't think so either. I'm not really seeing it, but there will be a time potentially if it continues to go up to drop the lower end home buying. Because
Well, the other thing too is that you'll see some people go to FHA, different type of mortgages and stuff like that to get a little bit better pricing or stuff like that. Or you might even see some people go to 7-1 and 10-1 ARMs because the 7-1 and 10-1 ARMs are getting aggressive right now. Okay, let's wrap up the show. Thank you both. Kyle Morse with FC Tucker, Carmel, Indiana. Shelly Walters with EXP Carmel, Indiana. Kyle, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, what's your phone number and how can they get a hold of you?
Easiest way to get a hold of me, call or text 317-649-5122.
And Shelly.
Hey guys, you can reach me at my cell phone, 317-201-2601 anytime.
Thank you.
Have a great day
All right,
and a great week.